Hey there, it's Kevin from Happy Coding here. I mentioned this in a previous video, yesterday's video, that part of my goal with these little exercises is to fill out the examples section of happycoding.io, especially the more fundamental sections of the examples. So stuff like calling functions, creating variables. So tonight I want to focus on calling functions, so I'm going to sort of limit myself to not doing any of these advanced things like creating variables and creating functions and doing animation, all that stuff. I'm going to stick with only calling functions, passing in parameters, and making the computer accomplish some goal. So I'm not going to ramble too much about that, but that's kind of where my head's at tonight. So without further ado, my goal is a little bit silly tonight. I want to draw this pig, and I don't really know why. I don't have a good explanation or anything. I tend to doodle a lot, and this happens to be one of the characters that comes up a lot when I'm just kind of meandering with my pencil, and probably because it only takes a few shapes and it's like immediately recognizable as a pig. Once you get that nose, you can't go wrong. So I've drawn this little guy probably hundreds of times since I was a little kid. So tonight that's what I'm going to go for. I'm going to draw a pig in P5. So here we go. I do think that drawing it on a piece of paper is often very helpful, especially if you're kind of new to thinking in coordinate space, so in X and Y. I think that getting out a piece of graph paper and drawing it out so that you can clearly see the kind of relationships between where things are, I think that can really help you. But anyway, we'll see if that's something that comes in handy or not. So I'm going to go over here to the P5 editor and make sure everything's connected and stuff. Looks like it is. And I'm going to start by, first I'm going to draw a circle. And I'm going to draw a circle in the middle of the canvas. I could draw it maybe more towards the top if my pig is going to be really tall, but I think my pig tends to be a little bit more round, so I'm going to keep him kind of right in the middle. And the middle of our window here, since the window has a size of 400 and 400, so it's 400 across and 400 pixels down, the middle is 200 by 200. So that's the XY, and I want to give it a size, and just to sort of get us started, I'm going to choose 300 kind of randomly. And there's the circle, and that's about what I would expect. So I want to start with the face, actually. So I'm going to make this circle maybe a little bit smaller. Let's see what, I don't know, what's 200 look like. It's a little bit better, maybe 150. Oops, not 1500, that'd be too big. I think that might be right. I'm trying to think forward to like what the body will maybe look like in the future, and let's see what 100 looks like. That might be a little too small. A lot of this is kind of just guessing at what things will look like, kind of like if you're just drawing it on a piece of paper. So I'm going to call this my sweet spot. I think 125 looks like a good size. And so I'm going to call this the pig's face. And next, let's see, I can start with the ears, but I'm not quite sure how I want to do those yet. I'm not sure if a triangle would look better, maybe circle. So I'm going to move to the eyes. And actually, no, I'm going to start with the nose. That's the most fun part. So I'm going to draw another, actually, it's not going to be a circle. I'm going to draw an ellipse or an oval because it's not quite perfectly round. It has kind of an oval-y shape. So I guess I'll put this right in the middle as well, and I'll give it maybe a width of, I don't know, I can change these numbers as I go. So let's say 75-25 just to see what that looks like. That's kind of a really wide nose. Maybe 75 is too much, maybe more like 50. That's closer to what I would want. I might move it down a little bit, but that looks okay. And let's get the little nose holes going. It's going to be another, actually these are going to be circles, I think. Maybe they'll be, whatever. I want to start with a circle. I might change it to an oval in a second. So since the middle is 200, I want to move it slightly to the left of 200. So I'm going to check, I don't know, I'm going to try maybe 190. and the y coordinate is still going to be right in the middle because it's lined up with like the center vertically. And the circle, let's start it pretty small. Let's see what this looks like. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good actually. So next I'm going to do kind of the same thing on the other side. So I'm moving it by 10, so I want to move it to 210, 210. That already looks kind of pig-like to me, so I like that. I do know that I'm going to want to fill these in, so I'm going to change the fill to black here. Whoops. I guess I need to reset the fill at the very beginning, so fill 255 up here so that the first couple circles are white. So I've got a white circle, and then 2 black circles. That's cool. I might leave some comments for myself so that my code's a little bit easier to read, because I think I'm going to end up drawing a bunch of circles and ellipses, so it's going to be hard to scan through. So I'm going to remind myself that this block of code is the nose. Might remind myself that this is the face. Okay, so I've got my face and I've got my nose. Let's maybe work on the eyes. So I'm going to put that here, I think, and it's going to be, you know, I could go ovals or circles. I think I'm going to stick with, let's go with ovals actually. So I'm going to go ellipse, and then I want to move this ellipse. I want it to be a little bit left of center, even more left of center than this like nose hole. So 190 was a little bit to the left. Let's go like 175 just to see. And I want it to be a little bit above the center vertically. So this might also, you know, I might just do 175, 175 and see where that takes me. And just to see what things look like, I'm going to choose 25 for the width and height. That's actually pretty reasonable. I feel pretty good about that. I might move this up just a little bit, and I might make it a little bit taller. Let's see. That pig looks like he's very surprised already. I don't know if I like that. I might change this back to circle actually. I don't know if I like the oval. Yeah, I'm okay with that, I think. We'll see where it takes me. So that's the left eye sort of outline, and I need the pupil, but let me, while I'm here, let me do the same kind of thing on the other side. So I've gone 25 to the left for the left eye. Let's go 25 to the right of the center for the right eye. And yep, that looks pretty good. And the pupils, I actually realized, are going to be pretty straightforward because they're in the same exact, they have the same exact center as the outline of the eye, but they'll just be a little bit smaller. So yep, I need to fill it in, but I can do that in a second. Circle 225, 170. Again, I'm choosing the same XY coordinate because the center of the pupil is the same as the center of the, you know, the outline of the eye. I don't know what this pig is feeling, but I don't know what I would call that. Let me color in his eyes before it freaks me out too much. So this is filling in the pupils, and I'm going to make sure that the outline of the eyes are still white. So that is white and the pupils are black. I guess I should make sure that the nose itself is white. I'm going to change that to pink in a second, but yeah, that looks pretty good. The whole thing I might move that down a little bit, but well, we'll see. So next, I have a couple options. I could go with ears, or I could go with the mouth. I think I want to do, let's maybe do ears next. And what I'm trying to think about is how I want to do this kind of round ear. I don't want it to be a triangle because I think that'll end up looking kind of like a cat or a raccoon or something. And I don't want it to be like too big of a circle because that'll end up looking like a bunny. So I might try an oval. Let's see. So I've got face, I've got left eye, and this is my right eye. So I'm going to do the ears. Doesn't really matter. I'm going to put them here, I guess. Left ear. I'm going to start with an ellipse, I think. And just to get started, I'm going to put it like right above the I, since I've already figured out what that coordinate is. So the X coordinate is 175, and the Y coordinate is going to be a little bit above 170. So I'm going to just kind of guesstimate at 160. And I'm going to make it a little taller than it is wide. And I'm going to make sure that this gets filled to white as well. Well, so that's not quite right. I think it's important to sort of be honest about the process of coding, and a big part of coding is encountering, situations like this where the code doesn't exactly do what you thought it would, and you have to go back and look at it. So I think I see what I did wrong here. It's x, y, and then width, and then height. I just messed these up, so I actually want it to be width of 25 and height of 50, so that it gets it's taller than it is wide. So yeah, this looks a little ridiculous, and it's because I've sort of drawn the ear sort of on top of the face rather than behind it. And if I was drawing this on a piece of paper, I actually drew the face first and then I drew the ears. But because I'm drawing this on like a false canvas with a computer, I think it's actually easier just to draw the ear first and then plop the face down right on top of it so that it kind of hides behind. So now he's got these little dumb ears. Let me maybe move that up a little bit more to like 150. And that's looking a little bit better. I think maybe I'll move it to the left a little bit, maybe 165. And yeah, I think I'm pretty happy with that. I'm trying to think, maybe I could tilt it a little bit or something, but honestly, I think this looks pretty good. So let's see if I can do the same kind of thing for the right ear. Actually, I'm just going to leave one comment because I think these ears are going to end up not being super complicated. So if I do another oval over on the other side, so let me think about this. So the center is 200 because our width is 400, so our center is 200. So if with 165, that means I went 35 pixels to the left for the left ear. So I want to go 35 pixels to the right for the right ear, and the rest of the coordinates will be the same, I think, because I want it to be the same Y. I want it to line up vertically with the other ear, and I want it to be the same size as the other ear, I think, anyway. Yeah, that looks okay. I think it looks maybe kind of like a bear instead of a pig, but I think maybe when we add the mouth and we make it pink, I think it'll look a little bit better. Actually, let me make it pink now just to see how we feel. So I could kind of guess at what pink is. Let me see if I can try that just for fun. Let me make the ears and the face pink. So let me do it this way. So it's RGB. So if I make it RGB, if I do this, our pig is going to be really red. It's going to be bright red. And our pig is angry about something and he's not having a good day. So let's lighten him up a little bit so we can make him pinker, or maybe it's a her. We can make them pinker by increasing the rest of the color, so lightening it up a little bit. And that's a little bit, I don't know, salmon-y. I might maybe lighten it up even more. Let's see where this takes us. And yeah, it's kind of a pastel pig. Another thing I can do is I can do something like HTML color codes, and I can look at there's online resources for picking a color or getting it from a grid. So I want a nice pink color. Another thing I can do is just straight up Google pink RGB, and I might find something. So let's see if something pops out at me. This seems like it might be too pink. It's more like a bubblegum pink. I want a pig pink. Now I'm really freaking myself out, and I no longer know what color a pig is because I've stared at pink too much. But I think it's closer to more of these pastel. Let's go with this one. So what I want is these three values. Actually, I can use any combination of these in P5, but I kind of prefer the numeric representation, so I'm going to go with that. So Actually, that's pretty close, wasn't I? 255, 200, 200 was my guess, and I was only off by like 8 and 3, so it's not going to change much. But yeah, I think that looks pretty cool. I like our happy little pig. So let me maybe change a couple things. I need to move this down to our nose as well. Later I might make the nose a little darker, I'm not sure, but for now, pink. Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty good with that. So next I want to do the mouth, and what did I draw on mine? I draw a little smile. I could do another circle, but I think I want to do a smile. The reason I'm hesitating here is I know that the function that would draw this shape is a little complicated, and I almost never use it actually. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the P5 reference and I'm going to look it up to sort of remind myself of how the heck this thing works. I know it's called arc, and yeah, it lets you draw like a segment of a circle, and I think what we want is kind of a half circle, or maybe like a quarter circle or something. So oh right, yeah, it's this. So arc takes a bunch of parameters. You give it like a center and a width and a height, and then you give it a start and a stop, which is in radians. Okay, yeah, this is coming back to me. Radians confuse me all the time, but I'm going to just get something and see what breaks and fix it as I go. So I want to call the arc function with x and y. The x I think is going to be right in the center again, so that's going to be 200. The y is going to be a little bit below center, so I'm going to call that, I don't know, 225 maybe. And then a width and a height, so it's going to be a little bit smaller than I made my face, which was 125, so let's say 50 for now, 50 and 50. And here's where it gets really confusing for me. I have to specify the angle of where I want the arc to start and where I want it to end. So for this, it's kind of like, I believe that 0 is all the way to the right, so that's this edge, and then I think pi is over here, all the way to the left. You know, we're gonna find out together. I don't actually know what this will look like, and I'm just push play and see what happens. That's actually pretty cute. I like that. That's funny. I actually did not expect that to work on the first try, but maybe to take a step back and explain what this is doing. So I've called the arc function with an x coordinate of 200, which is right in the middle, and then a y coordinate of 225, which is a little bit below the middle vertically, so that puts it right here. And then I've given it a width and a height of 50, so that's specifying the size. And then the value 0 means start over here, and the value pi means end over here. So what I can do to demonstrate this a little bit better is, like, if I do pi over 2, then it'll go only down to here, and now it's like I don't know what kind of mouth you would call this, like a little half smile. So that's the way the arc function works, where I could do something like pi over 2 here and then pi here, and it'll sort of flip it. So it starts at pi over 2 and ends at pi. Radians are like a geometric concept that kind of confuses me, honestly, but as long as I can fiddle around and get something working, I'm pretty happy. So I kind of like that it's just like kind of an open mouth, but what I want to do is try to go closer to what I originally drew on my piece of paper, and it's just a line. So I think I can do that with the mode option, or actually no, I think it's fill. So there's an example up here that does what I want, and the way they do that is they call no fill before they call arc. So let me try that. So if I do no fill here and then I draw the arc, what it'll draw is only the sort of outline and not the not the inside part, not the filled part. So that looks absolutely ridiculous. I think that maybe he's too happy, but I mean, there's no such thing. Let me maybe try increasing the stroke weight and to make these lines a little thicker. So I think that looks a little better. Let me try one more step. that's kind of cute. What I might do is maybe make that less of a ridiculous smile. Maybe go pi/4, and then let me just see where that starts. That starts, yeah, that's a little bit less ridiculous. And then what I want to do is maybe pi times 0.75, so it's like 3/4 pi. And to make this like even, what I'm going to do is do 0.25 here. So what I'm doing is going from a little bit above 0 and then a little bit before pi, so 25 to 75, and I think that's pretty cute. I might move the nose down a little bit while I'm looking at it. Here comes the part where like I could probably just fiddle with this for forever, but I'm going to try to resist that urge and just get something that kind of looks good enough. And dang, I'm pretty happy with that. That is definitely a pig, little winker. I forgot to check the time I started this, so I don't know if I've been rambling for too long, but I'm going to keep trucking. Next, I want to draw sort of the body, which is going to be another big circle, maybe an oval, but I'm actually going to do a nice oval because I want to be a little flatter, I think. So I'm going to do an ellipse at, so the center is going to be the same as it has been the entire time, 200, 200. I've sort of made my life a little easier by basing my drawing off of the very center of the canvas, so I know where to start. And then I want to make this like pretty big, so let's try something like 300, 200. And I think that's he's like a burly pig now. I think that's fine. I do want to make the body pink again, so where's my fill? Take this one. Oh, right. So I need to draw the body before I draw the face. Otherwise, it's just a pink, formless blob. So let me do it this way. Body. So I'm drawing the body first, and then I draw everything else. So that looks kind of funny to me. That looks like he's kind of looking straight up for some reason. Looks like he's like a big football player or something. But maybe that'll look better when I draw the legs, which I think I can draw down here. So legs, while I'm here, I'm going to comment here for mouth. And the legs, I think those are just going to be rectangles. So yeah, it looks like I just use, I don't actually know what pigs' feet look like. I'm not sure if they have these square hooves, or I think they might have little toes on them, but whatever. I'm going to make my life a little easier and go with squares. So I'm going to call the rectangle function, which takes a few parameters, x and y, and then width and height, I think. So the x, I'm going to, again, base all of my logic or my coordinates off of the center. So if I think in terms of 200 being right in the middle of the nose, what I want is a value that's to the left, so something like 150 maybe. That might be a little too far, but I think it'll be okay. And then the legs, it doesn't actually matter where I put the legs because they're going to show up behind the body, but just to kind of estimate, I think maybe I'd go like around 250, because like here's 200, down here somewhere is 250, so that's about where they would start. And then I'm going to make them pretty tall and then pretty skinny, or pretty skinny. Yeah, wait, yeah, that's right, pretty tall and pretty skinny. So let's just see what this looks like. Again, I flipped this again. What I wanted to be was pretty skinny and pretty tall. And yeah, so again, I'm drawing this on top of everything just to get it sort of situated, and I'll move it so it's below everything else in a second, but this is just to get it kind of where it needs to be. So I can tell that this needs to be to the left like quite a bit, so this needs to be like 100 maybe, and at 250 looks okay to me, honestly. I might make it a little bit taller though. Yeah, I think that looks okay. And let me do the other leg while I'm at it. So always thinking in terms of like where the center is. The other one I put 100 to the left, so I'm going to put this one 100 to the right, so that 300. And I think the rest of the coordinates will stay the same because I want it to line up, vertically, and I want it to be the same size. So I don't quite know if that's a pig, and actually I think I messed something up. What did I mess up? this leg is too far to the right. Why is that? So it's I know why. It's because so right here is 200, and right here is 200 minus 100, which is 100. And now what I want is, I don't want the left edge of my rectangle to line up with with that logic. So like I don't want my left I don't want the left edge of my right rectangle here to be 100 away, because what I'm doing is like I'm lining up the outside edges of the leg actually. So what I want to do is subtract the width. So I actually want this at 275, so that the what's this called? the left and right, they line up. There's a word for what I'm thinking of, but I'm blanking on it. But you can tell me in the comments. But now like the left leg is relative to the center in the same way that the right leg is. So I'm no longer over calculating based on like the right edge. I'm not explaining that very well, but you can play around with what these parameters do to get a better idea of their effect on the sketch. And so I can move these up to be sort of below the body, or like, so I draw the legs first and then I draw the body so that the body shows up over top of the legs. And I also put it after the fill, so that helps with that. And I want to do a couple things. I want to draw the hoofs, and I might move those legs in a little bit. So right now they are 100. Let me maybe decrease that a little bit to 125 and maybe 250. So I'm moving them 25 closer, and I think that looks a little bit better. I might make that body a little skinnier too while I'm at it, but whatever. Now I'm getting nitpicky. So I want to fill with 0, I know that much, and what I'm going to do is draw some more rectangles down at the very bottom of the legs. So I know that the x-coordinate is going to be 125 because I'm over here on the left leg, and the y-coordinate is going to be, let's see, it's going to be 250, which is the very top of the leg, plus 125, which takes me to, oh man, I'm going to have to do math in my head. It'll take me to 375, but that's the sort of very bottom of that's here. This is 375. And so what I want to do is decrease this, I don't know, by like 25 maybe. And then let's see what happens if I do it this way. Oh boy. Now our pig is like wearing a little mask or something. Oh dear. Why is that? Oh, it's because I need another pink. So that looks pretty good, honestly. I'm pretty happy with that. So I might just do the same exact thing over on the other side. So this leg is at 250, and the rest of the coordinates I think stay the same. I think we're kind of noticing a pattern of how the coordinates kind of match up to each other. And where did that go to? Oh, 350, just a silly typo. Cool. I think that's our pig, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see, I think maybe our pig should go on a little bit of a diet. So maybe let's make it 175 here. Decrease the size of the body just a little bit. I keep messing that up. I keep doing the exact same mistake, don't I? If I want to make it skinnier, I need to decrease the width. So let's decrease this. Maybe just a little more. Piggy is going on a vegetarian diet. Yeah, there we go. I think that looks pretty cute. I might make those pupils not so crazy, but I think it looks good as is. Let me just think for a second and compare where I started with my goal to where I ended up with my drawing, and kind of see if anything else occurs to me. What I might do next is kind of color in these segments a little bit better. So like I might choose a different shade of pink for the legs and a different shade of pink for the body, different shade of pink for the ears, that kind of thing. I think generally their noses tend to be a little bit darker, but I think it's okay for now. And I think honestly that that would take me forever to like find the exact perfect shade of pink. So I'm gonna kind of skip over that, save you the trouble of watching me do it that way. I do want to change the background color, so you know, it's kind of dealer's choice, but I kind of want to put my piggy in a little pasture, so I think it's going to be mostly green. I know if I do 255 for green, it's going to be like just lime green, and it's going to be G. So G's in the middle. I always mess those up, but RGB. Now our pig is like in outer space being abducted by an alien or something. So I want to decrease this by just a little bit, maybe half it or so. That's kind of gross green, so maybe make it a little bluer. You know, you can play around with colors quite a bit to find exactly the kind of shade that you want for your animal. What do I want to do? Yeah, like I said, I could play with colors all night and never really be satisfied, but I'm going to kind of just call it there. So now we've got our pig, and our pig is out in some grass, and it's nice and happy. And there we are. I think I'm gonna say that that's our pig. So cool. That's good. Sorry. So yeah, from here, like I said, I wanted to focus on some things you can do with sort of the fundamentals of coding. So like the very first thing that you learn about is how to call functions, and you can do quite a bit with only calling functions. We've called just a few functions here. We've created some circles and some ovals and some squares, and we've changed the colors, and we went from this sort of cute theoretical goal to having it, you know, on the computer. And I think that's pretty cool. And that's a big part of what coding is, you know, starting with a goal and looking through the reference to understand some syntax that you might not be familiar with, and then experimenting and troubleshooting and getting some things wrong, but eventually landing on something that accomplishes your original goal. So I hope that this was kind of a little window into what coding is. So from here, if you followed along, and I'll post like a link to this final code as well, so you don't have to like write it yourself if you want to skip to this part of it. But from here, what I might do is, you know, maybe color in the background a little bit more. You know, I've just put my pig in the middle of a pasture. You know, maybe that pasture has flowers in it. Maybe there's a barn in the background. Maybe there's a cow. You know, maybe the pig has some friends or some baby little piglets that are hanging out with her. There's a lot you can do, and it kind of comes down to your imagination and what sounds fun and interesting and cute, and what will make you smile, or, you know, what will make your friends smile when you send them your beautiful coding creation. Yeah, so I think I'm going to call that done, and I'm going to post this tonight and stuff. So thanks for watching. As always, if you have questions, please reach out to me either in the comments or whatever, or on happycoding.io. Plenty of stuff here, and there's a forum and whatnot, so you can always contact me if you have questions or ideas, or, you know, just want to say hi. So yeah, thanks for watching, and have a good night, and as always, happy coding.